Good people. Jonte Hawkins here. Let's talk trades. So I had the opportunity to interview Mr. Ryan Burgess. He's a pipe welder out of Washington State, and he travels to Alaska to weld for the large oil companies. He gave a great interview, a lot of great answers to the questions that I asked. So there's a lot of information on how he became a high level pipe welder. And if there's any information you want me to research, I know I've done a welding interview before with Tulsa Welding School. And if you have any questions about it, feel free to email me at jonte at letstalktrades.com. So without further ado, Mr. Ryan Burgess.
All right, good people. This is John Tay Hawkins. Let's talk trades. With me, I have Mr. Ryan Burgess. Is that
Yes,
correct?
sir. Yes, sir.
Mr. Overtime 24_7 on Instagram.
Yes, sir.
Again, thank you for the interview and thank you for your time. You know,
Thank
and like we had a little conversation before we started recording, and my major focus is getting awareness of what we do to the trades and to the younger generation to let them know that this is possible. So let's jump right into it. Can you give us a little background and what's your profession?
Yeah, my name is Ryan Burgess. At this current time, I am 36 years old. I was born and raised in Oakland, California. At the age of 13, I had some family issues. My mother got on drugs, and I went to live with my father in Washington State. And so that's how I ended up in Spokane, Washington. I've been here ever since. And as of now, I am a certified pipe welder. So I work for ConocoPhillips, Chevron, and basically if they have pipes that burst open or crack, they shut the plant down and call my crew in and we weld them up and get them back going. We also do a variety of other things, but that is the main focus of my job is contracted out through either Conoco, Chevron, or Texaco, whoever calls us. We come and do their deeds.
Gotcha. Perfect. So how much have you traveled, in your profession?
So at first, I did no traveling. I was what they call a sunshine welder, where I just stayed in my little environment and worked inside shops. But as of the last 3 to 4 years, I've been traveling different states. Different jobs may pop up because the pay is different. Some places offer per diem and traveling. So if you want to make good money, you got to hit the road, unfortunately. So as of now, I do travel 3 weeks out of the month. So my current schedule is I work 21 days straight and I have 21 days off, and I just go in a 3 week rotation like that. But it's always to the same place. Right now, I work in what's called Prudhoe Bay or Dead Horse, Alaska. And all that is an oil town. I mean, there's nothing there but hotels and oil fields, literally. And I get
Wow.
flew into there. They fly me in for my 21 days. They put me up in the hotel. They pay for my food. All I have to do is show up. I do not pay a dime of anything I earn, and then I go home.
That's not a bad setup.
Right. So technically, I only work 6 months out of the year because I'm getting 3 weeks off. That's just the schedule. 3 weeks on, 3 weeks off, 3 weeks on, 3 weeks off. So if you add it up, you really only work 6 months out of the year. And people have to work 2 to 3 years to get a week and a half off at other companies. And I get
Right.
those regular. So it's a good deal. That's why I try to encourage people.
Right. But how were you introduced, to the welding trade?
So like we spoke earlier, I was introduced to welding by proxy. Honestly, I was around it. I was what was called a sandblaster. And all that is a person who sprays fine particulates of sand or grain onto metal structures, and it's just stripping the paint, the rust. It gets it down to the bare metal in order for fixes or painting or whatever you need. And long story short, a welder quit, and the owner of the company came to me and asked if I would be willing to learn how to do the position in order to keep the job that he had bid. I said yes. I closed my mouth and listened to what they were teaching me, and the rest was history.
Perfect. Perfect. So, yeah, thinking back as a youngster, or were you introduced to any of the trades like in middle school or high school?
No, honestly not. And when I got to high school, I was here in Spokane, Washington. That was 2005. So, we were in the technical age, so to say. But they were not pushing that. It was go to college, lawyer, doctor, all of these things. But if you're like me, I like working with my hands, but I don't like blood. So I can't be a surgeon because I'll pass out. I know it. So
Mhm.
I had to find something else. So it was kind of disheartening back then, knowing that there were no trade schools. No, so it's definitely a blessing to be a part of what you have going on, and trying to push the agenda.
Mhm. So you said that you got into the trade by learning on the job. So you
Yes,
kind of
sir.
started and moved into welding. And how long have you been a certified welder?
So I've been certified for the last 7 years now. So I've been doing it total of 11. So it took me about, a good 3, 4 years before I was able to actually pass all the testing, because there's different levels. You start from 1 all the way to 6. So I had trouble doing 1, but once I got up to it, 6 is the big, and now that's where I am. There is no higher as far as certifications go. I have the big boy.
Perfect. Perfect. So, I always ask everyone, how do we break this stigma that's tied to the trades? I know, like when I was in school, I went to high school, and it was always, if you don't go to college, you're going to be homeless on the street somewhere, right?
Right,
And that's what I was thinking until I made my break into construction, and now I know better. But
right,
it's still being pushed that way, and that's one of the biggest reasons we have this student loan crisis, right?
right,
Because everyone's going to college, getting degrees that they don't need, or getting degrees that they can't find a career in to even pay the loan off.
right.
How do you think we can break that stigma that's attached to the trades?
That's a good question, John Tay. In my personal opinion, I believe we can break the stigma. It's not a one facet answer. There's going to be multiple facets involved with this, but to give one or two, I think we have to do what you're doing now, and that's reaching out to people, gathering the information. And once we have enough of talented people, then we can push it out and say, hey, look, you don't have to go to college. This is not the only route. Because what people think is, there's oddballs. So there's you, there's me, there's somebody in this other state. It doesn't look like college looks. Because when you look at a college, everyone's in college. But if they see other people are in trades, and might I add, doing just as well, if not better, than people that have graduated with degrees, I think that'll kind of shift the paradigm a bit, and people will start saying, well, I used to laugh at the plumbers, but now, man, I'm about to go be a plumber because he got a Corvette, Brent, like, wow, from plumbing. I think that's how it starts. But again, there's always deeper answer. But in the beginning, I think it's about gathering the information and getting it out there so people can see it's tangible and it's real.
Yeah, I agree. That's a great answer. And you had me thinking about the plumbers. Like, back when I was running my business full time, I had a plumber that I had on call, and depending on the job, he would turn it down and send somebody else.
Yes.
That's he's still making money hand over fist.
Yep.
When you can pick and choose what job you want to do,
Yep.
that means you're in high demand, very
Yep.
high demand.
The
That's
issue is not to cut you off, John Tate. Just one quick notation on that is that a lot of that issue is like you spoke earlier, the stigma of being a plumber. Oh, it's a plumber. You're the toilets. Okay, well, somebody has to do these jobs. If we're going to turn our nose up towards a plumber, which is something we all need in our homes, why we're not better than anybody, and we have to get over that hurdle as well.
mm-hmm. And that's a trade that'll never go away.
Nope.
Not as long as we're a civilized country. We need.
I could imagine it digressing. I couldn't imagine that. Not plumbing and toiletry. That's like you said. That's one thing we will keep.
Mm-hmm. So, last question. No, I always ask, what would you say to anyone interested into getting into trades, especially the trade you're in?
For anyone getting into a trade, I would say you have to not be afraid to admit you don't know anything about the trade. And you have to be okay with a learning curve and knowing, hey, this might take some time. I'm not going to come in and be the best, even though my ego tells me that. I'm going to have to learn. It might come from someone who doesn't look like me. But if we put our egos aside and say, hey, I'm doing this for me or my family or blase, blah, whatever it may be, I just need the information. That's what I did. I took things from guys, and I know this is recorded, who some people might say were racist, but they realized that I wanted to know what I was doing, and they taught me everything they know. They saw through the skin color because your intelligence shines. So I would just tell people, don't be quick to judge. Find something that you want to know and stick with it. And by doing that, you'll weasel your way to wherever you need to be.
Yep, I agree 100%. Agree 100%. So again, thank you for the interview. I'm gonna give out your social media. Everyone can
Thank
follow
you.
you.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it, Jonte.
All right.
And there you have it. First off, I'd like to thank Mr. Ryan Burgess for his time and his words, his expertise, and being able to share his experience and his journey. So, again, my mission here is to expose you to the trades, let them know that we have options available, other than a 4-year university. And there are a lot of people like us out there making a very good living in the world. So if you have any questions, comments, concerns, again, I can be reached at jonte@letstalktrades.com. So again, like, comment, subscribe, share the information with anyone you think may be interested in trades. Again, jonte@letstalktrades.com, and let's talk about it.